What's your guys' craziest spring break story?
One of our homegirls cracked some kid. He got drunk as fuck. We told him that he got her pregnant, and he sent us 10 grand for an abortion and paid for the rest of our spring break for it right now. That's how we out here right now.
So one of your friends got pregnant?
No, so she fucked some guy. I gaslighted him into thinking that he got her pregnant, freaked out, and sent me 10 grand for an abortion, and that paid for the rest of our trip here.
You guys just scammed some guy.
Hell yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel fucking amazing.
Alright, testing 1 2. Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. Ba'ashem means in the name of. Yahushai is the true name of the Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahushai. And those are the names in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, which our forefathers, the Israelites, that is the language we spoke. And the Israelites consist of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and you Israelite foreigners who will look like the heathen. But your seed line and spirit goes back to the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are an Israelite. And double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And salutations to the elect out there feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, with sincerity, truth, and with charity. Alright, so this is why you brothers, some of you should just stay single until the kingdom, right? And obviously this is not for everybody. You know, some people can, some people, you know, might have to wait till Isaiah 4:1. You might have to wait till the Lord ultimately gives you a woman, right? Or a concubine, or whatever the case might be. But sometimes this is why it's best to stay single, right? Or at least be as if you had no wife. Right? This is the book of Proverbs 11 and 22. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. Right? So no matter how pretty these women look on the outside, no matter how they look on the outside, man, if they lack wisdom, which these women's the wisdom is the Lord. The Lord deprived them of wisdom, right? If they lack wisdom, where ultimately they get their wisdom from the men of the Lord, okay? Ultimately, man, hey bro, they're gonna be fucking cooked, okay? There's no middle ground, man. There's no in between. They're gonna be fucking cooked, okay? The day of the Lord burn as an oven, roughly paraphrasing. Yeah, they're gonna literally get cooked, okay, into fucking ashes. If not, whatever's past ashes, right? Because these nukes are gonna be so hot, they're gonna burn these women like it's, man, like imagine 200 million nuclear missiles constantly hitting the flesh and just burning these people, man. That's the judgment that's coming to these people, okay? These women that are not with the men of the Lord, okay? Because the men of the Lord will be the reason these women even make it out. 1 Timothy 2 and 15. It says, notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. Okay? She shall be saved in childbearing. So these women, they need to get with the men of the Lord, because ultimately, man, you know, they have to get with the elect men of the Lord. And if they're not, well, it's going to be a very bad time for them that's upcoming. And like this woman right here, man, you think the Lord is, you know, you see this woman, man, this is an example of why to stay away from these sluts. Sleep around with whoever. They probably have 30, 40 body counts. if not more. They take advantage of men with their money, and they're really the only reason they're getting with men, and really the whole reason women get with men is because it's for what they have, okay? But how do you say this, man? Because ultimately, what these hoes, they don't want you for who you are. They want what you have, okay? And ultimately, they're gonna just perish. Okay, but if you're not with the men of the Lord, you're gonna be food for those ICBM nuclear missiles that rain upon America, Babylon the Great. And if you're one of those women that you might have done something wrong to the men of the Lord, it'd be better for you to hang a millstone around your neck and fucking throw yourself into the ocean, because hey, that's a terrible judgment on you. And there was a lesson I was watching, right? And one of the brothers was saying that Lot's wife, as she was looking back, and till this day, she's still a pillar of salt. Okay, she's still a pillar of salt. Till this day, okay. She looked back into Sodom and Gomorrah, and she got turned into a pillar of salt. So till this day, she is a pillar of salt. And now these women that want to be in the world, right? That want to sleep around, right? That want to live, okay, and have experiences. Ultimately, man, they're on this next go around. They're gonna turn into a pillar of fucking ashes and trash and shit. Okay. And because what does the scripture say? Micah 7:10. It says, "Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, Where is the Lord thy God? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now she shall be trodden down as a mire of the streets." And that mire of the streets, it's like when a horse picks up shit on the road and stomps over and over and over and over and over and over, okay? Until it just nothing but fucking shit. That's what these women are going to be like, that who didn't get with the men of the Lord, and who didn't hearken themselves and get with the men of the Lord. Okay? So if they want to do these things like, be adulterers, sleep with other men, multiple men, if they want to try to manipulate, right? If they want to be rebellious, that's on them. It's not on you. Okay? And another thing is, if the Lord doesn't allow you to get with a certain woman or whatever, like the woman not talk to you, or she doesn't, if the Lord didn't put the Spirit on her, okay, and ultimately the Lord didn't have mercy on her, and if you're a man of the Lord didn't have mercy. The Lord doesn't have mercy on her, okay, and the Lord just might not be with that person, okay, so it's really, man, just it's and this is why what the scriptures say. What it says. Let's go. This is from Paul. It says 1 Corinthians 7:29. It says, "But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none." Okay? And because even if you have a wife or whatever, hey bro, you can't, you have to focus on this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and getting as much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding first. Okay? It's like a jar. You feel you fill a jar with rocks, right? There's like an analogy. You fill the jar with sand first, right? The jar is full, but you fill that jar with the rocks first, then the sand, you can fit both the rocks and the sand in the jar, right? And if that makes sense, basically, right? If that makes sense, you can look this up if you can't understand it, but you have to put the little things, last, right? And this truth comes first. So this truth is our first wife, right? It's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay? Let's see. Proverbs 9:13. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. And bro, even these women, man, really, a woman like this, man, she's a fool, a piece of dirt. She's not even worth 2 dead flies. And the thing is, these women, they associate their value with being, sleeping with multiple men and having a bunch of men give them money, when really, that's not your value. You see a fly on the ground and you see it shit on the ground, right? And that shit on the ground attracts a bunch of flies. That's like these hoes, okay? That is literally the same thing. Just because you have all these men supporting you and, it doesn't mean you're valuable, okay? A real woman is like rubies. It's hard to find. That's the one who's a virgin, who follows the men of the Lord, okay? Who's sincere. And and the Lord has specific women like that for the men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and He has them reserved. And in the kingdom, the Lord will provide His men with thousands of women and concubines, okay? And if you have a problem with that, then fuck off, okay? Because that's how it's going to be, and that's how it's according to prophecy. Because the scriptures say what? A little one shall become, Isaiah 16:22, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. And the Lord will hasten it in His time. Hey, bro. So even the Israelite in the kingdom, man, even the Israelite that that's not even of the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Lord willing, I'm part of that number. When they come back in the kingdom, they're going to even have plenty of wives and concubines. Okay? Hey, so fuck what you get on this side, bro. Like, who gives a fuck? Because this is what they have to offer. It's better to be single or be as those of you had no wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's why some brothers, they get with prostitutes, because ultimately it's a transaction. But if you get with a slut like this, she will take $10,000 or more from what you have. She might file you for child support. She might cause rape allegations, right? You're not going to find that with a prostitute, right? And I'm not saying that's for everybody. Some things, are just not expedient, right? But, that's why some brothers, they do get with prostitutes, right? But besides the point, hey, this is why it's better to stay, better to avoid these women. Sometimes it is better to stay single, right? Because until, Isaiah 4:1, and because in Isaiah 4:1, right, what's going to happen, man? The Lord, these women are going to have no other option to be with the men of the Lord. And the men of the Lord are not going to take every single woman. They're going to be rejecting a lot of these women. So the tables will turn. Because right now, you see in this society, you see all these men giving these women gifts, okay? And everything's out of proportion. Now, a woman, when she sees just a person, her standards are so high. Now she wants them to give them fucking cars and whatever, right? But soon, man, there's going to be such a lack of a lack of men of the Lord. A lack of men, okay? To where women, they're going to be mourning, okay? They're going to be literally mourning Okay? And then that's going to lead into Isaiah 4:1. Let me bring this out first. The virgin shall born. Right? So and when all hell breaks loose, there's not going to be no more, can you buy me an iPhone or a purse? Can you buy me a car? That's not gonna be there. This is the book of 2 Ezra 16 and 33. The virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms, and the women shall mourn having no husband, and their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. And ultimately that's going to happen because of the war. That's the wars and destruction and the famines that are going to take place. And then that whole spirit of these women asking for cars and all these different gifts, all that shit's going to be gone when all hell breaks loose and there's men outside raping, killing women, taking women, kidnapping, looting. That whole spirit's going to be done, okay? And then that's why ultimately, Isaiah 4:1, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And that's when Isaiah 4:1 is going to happen. Because these women, they're going to have no choice. They're going to be forced to share a man. Okay? Because right now you're not seeing that happening. Okay, but there's going to be a time of destruction. And then, you're seeing that happen with some people, yes, but it hasn't taken to a full effect. Right? But you're going to see it soon where 7 women are going to take hold of one man because of the prophecy. Okay? That's happening. And destruction and the famines. And then these women are ultimately going to be humbled. Okay? And then basically what's going to happen is, they're gonna have to be forced to get with the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay? And not every woman's gonna make it. Okay? Not every woman's gonna make it. But Isaiah 4:1 is gonna happen on this side. Okay? But not a lot of women are gonna be rejected. Okay? Because, hey bro, these women, we don't want your fucking nasty attitude. Okay? We don't want you if you've slept with a bunch of men. Okay? Because that's ultimately what these women have to offer. They don't know how to do basic things anymore. They don't know how to cook. All they know is how to scroll and fucking shake their ass. This is Proverbs 9 and 13. I'm going to repeat it one more time. A foolish woman is clamorous, and she is simple and knoweth nothing. Okay? It says, a word for clamorous is an adjective that means making a loud, confused noise or expressing loud, insistent demands or complaints. And that's these sluts, bro. That's these hoes. So we don't want to deal with these dragons, okay? Which brings me to the next precept. Ecclesiasticus 25 and 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Okay? And they're constantly changing and asking and demanding for things. One day she can say, I love you, baby. The next day she's fucking leaving your ass, sucking 10 million dicks. She might be taking a dick from one ear and one mouth and then one from behind, right? And she said, I love you, baby. And that's why you cannot trust these sluts. Ultimately, it's better to just sleep with it's better to sleep with not sleep, be by yourself, right? It'd be better if you live with a lion and a dragon. Okay? And I have Proverbs 21 and 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. So sometimes it's better to be ultimately just by yourself, okay? Isolated, Now, obviously, you should be with mainly the brethren of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the body of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay? But then, that's really what we have. And this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that should be your first wife. Right? Sometimes it's better to just be as if you had no wife. Okay? But hey, this is why you should stay away from these evil women. Okay, these evil. Hey, but the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, He will fucking destroy you, and we will see the downfall of these evil ass sluts. We will see it, because the Lord said, "What? Vengeance is mine." Okay. It said the Lord said to him. The scriptures say, "Vengeance is mine," saith the Lord. Okay, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Okay. Ultimately, man, that's how. And don't try to take matters into your own hands, because this society favors women, right? And a woman like this, man, the court system favors her. Esau favors her, right? A woman could literally kill her own baby in this society. Think about it. But don't worry. The Lord is He's going to really, and one more thing. The Lord is going to get a high kill count. He's going to get an all-time kill count. You know how like a game, or whatever, or I don't know, somebody gets a high kill streak, or high. The Lord is gonna get a high kill streak on America, Babylon the Great, on these women especially. When those nukes fall, that's going to be a mega kill streak for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And these nukes are going to take out many of these women. Okay? But with that, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to elect feeding the sheep of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai.